Hello and welcome to today's StreamingMedia.com Roundtable, sponsored by Nice People at Work, Tavant, and DCafe. I'm Eric Schumacher Rasmussen. I'm the VP and editor of Streaming Media Magazine and StreamingMedia.com, and I'll be your host and moderator today for our event, I should say, which is going to focus on advanced OTT strategies. Before we dig in, though, just a few program notes. We will have a live Q&A session at the end of the presentations, but you can ask questions anytime you'd like by typing them into the Q&A box provided and then hitting the submit button. I will read your questions to the speakers after our roundtable, and if we don't get a chance to ask your question during the time that we have, one of our speakers or more will get you an answer offline once the event is over. Also, the webinar will be archived within 24 hours for on-demand viewing, and the presentations will be available as a PDF download once the archive is posted. Plus, just for participating in today's webinar, you will be entered to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Our speakers today are Ruben Senor Megias, Chief Sales Officer from Nice People at Work, Ravi Peravali, Vice President, Media Practice at Tavant, and Kaushik Badiani, Chief Technology Officer for DCafe. And each speaker is going to give a brief rundown of who they are, what their company does, what their angle is on advanced OTT, and then we're going to get into our roundtable discussion. So with that, I'd like to pass the event over to Ruben from Nice People at Work. Ruben?
Great. So hello again. My name is Ruben Senor Megias. Yeah, I'm the Chief Sales Officer from Nice People at Work. Yeah. So Nice People at Work, one of the leading analytics companies worldwide, independent analytics companies worldwide, supporting customers in their day-by-day business. So we are video experts since 2008. A part of understanding the pure video analytics setup, yeah, from an end-to-end perspective, we developed also an online video platform, which is very common and most of you know, which is Wacky TV, also now called Rakuten TV. So we operated that platform since 2018. So we know exactly from an end-to-end perspective what needs to be done. And that's why we invented also an analytics tool called Ubora Suite, where we are processing more than 100 billion plays. Yeah, we have mostly all players and browsers and integrated into our setups. Yeah, and we're tracking more than 197 countries. Yeah, a part of being processing the data for our customers, so we don't own the data of our customers. We provide the world-class security and compliance certifications to our customers, supporting them in their day-by-day business, supporting all the GDPR and CDPA-related topics. Yeah, not only in Europe, in the US, in LATAM, and in APEC. This is something we are doing with service providers and companies and consultancy companies who are working with us, providing the best possible services to our customers. So we understand and we bring all the teams together, a part of the user behavior and engagement, how users are really using the complete service from our customers. We understand from a platform performance and from a customer care performance perspective, we understand in real time since 5 years exactly what needs to be done day by day, and we support our customers to move ahead. And a part of the QE and QS related topics, it's important to understand also the UI and UX related topics. So if you have a bad application and a bad UI UX, you can measure QE or QS as long as you want. It doesn't help, if your application is not performing as you need. So that's why we are matching QE and QS related analytics setups with the application. Of course, also the ad efficiency. How efficient is your ad server? How efficient is the ad as such? You know quite well you have different sources where you have, from a source management perspective, also the need to do video analytics, which we do with companies like Telestream, in combination to measure the CDN transcoding encoding performance up to the client. And of course, last but not least, from a VOD and from a live perspective, you need to understand all the different topics as such. I'm changing the slide. So what we're having is a 360 degree view, so we understand from an end-to-end perspective, but also from a day-by-day perspective, exactly all the problems of our customers, because our credo and our way of working is onboarding the customer, understanding their problems, setting up Ubora according to their needs, because you can customize everything in our tool, and then ramp up the service and be successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruben. And now, Ravi from Tavant. Ravi, tell us about Tavant's approach to OTT. Perhaps Ravi is on mute again.
Hi. So Tavant is a specialized engineering company developing bespoke OTT applications for the media industry. We have over a decade of experience working with some of the largest providers of OTT solutions like Disney Plus, NBC, TiVo, etc. And what we do is develop engineering and data platforms that leverage modern technologies and cloud-based solutions. We are at Tavant. We are headquartered in the Bay Area. We have offices over in 6 countries and about 2,500 employees. Besides media, we do work in other verticals like fintech, manufacturing, gaming. And again, primarily our specialty is really developing compelling consumer-facing platforms and applications that are very data-driven. So moving on, what is it that we do? So OTT actually involves multiple dimensions. So to develop an effective OTT platform, there are various things that one needs to do. One is focus on data analytics. So data analytics, as Ruben pointed out, is at the core of everything that is done. So we develop platforms, and again, these are custom bespoke applications for our customers using the major cloud providers. The other area we are focused on is advertising. Advertising is a key revenue driver for most of the OTT companies, and they are looking for ways to actually get the maximum yield from their ad inventory. So we've developed some very innovative solutions and frameworks in that area of aggregating inventory and being able to maximize the yield. The other area is obviously in the area of OTT services and media operations. Quality of experience, what the consumer experiences while watching an OTT is very important. So it's is needed is to be able to collect data about the way that content is being consumed, the way it is being viewed, and being able to then provide the right platform solutions to optimize that. Over to you, Eric.
Thank you very much, Ravi. And now we have Kaushik from DCafe. Kaushik, take it away.
Thank you, Ravi. This is Kaushik from DCafe. So DCafe is an OTT management platform that is built on highly scalable and cost-effective serverless architecture for video and audio streaming, live events, and virtual events. Let me deep dive into the content architecture of how DCafe has been built. DCafe is based on a robust, scalable content architecture and dynamic workflow. And what you see on the diagram is I'll give a quick overview. From a content architecture or content taxonomy perspective, say for example, any organization has a particular product, it might be into M&E or sports and have a different workflow for each of the product type. They can use the content architecture or taxonomy to configure it. So below the product type, you can see something called as primary navigation, which is coming up. It has something called as TV shows, movies, and news. So this is again completely dynamic, which you see on the top of your website or below in bottom on the apps. And Say for example, within TV shows, you want to put in something called as a menu category, and menu category is nothing but what happens when a user comes on your site on an OTT platform and clicks on TV shows. What happens? Say for example, they have a menu category configured and a menu category pops up, which is nothing but it could be a list of channels or any workflow design which you want to provide. What happens when someone clicks on a particular menu category? They go onto an asset group. Now, what an asset group is? Asset group is something like a show name, whereby, say for example, if you have something like a show like Friends or Game of Thrones or something, that could be configured within asset group. And within asset group, you have seasons and episodes that again gets configured into an asset category. And below asset category, you have list of assets and then asset subcategories. Now, say for example, someone does not have everything which is needed, then they go with a page category, which again is a dynamic configuration, and then they could have a carousel setting, which again is dynamic and which can be applied to any level. Moving next. Yeah, it's into an integrated platform, and we cover all the 12 screens. We are player agnostic. We work with Bitmovin, Theo, which can be configured. We have our own player. We are an OTT management platform whereby we can configure business rules dynamically. We can have an analytics into it and monetization. I'll cover monetization and analytics at a later stage. We are again cloud redundant, and we are on AWS and Azure. And from a video workflow management perspective, we work with Verizon Media, which provides streaming, delivery, and security. Moving next, from a monetization perspective, we have SWOT and AWOT models, and as SWOT, AWOT, and keyword, which you can have with and without in-app purchases. You can map geo and currency mapping with multiple payment gateway operators. You can set subscription rules, and the rules can be based on streams, concurrent usage, geo zones, etc., with a flip of vouchers, promo codes, and discounts. Again, these rules can be set based on certification. You can also have something called as a metered usage. Ads again can be server side and client side. Again, client-side ads could be pre-roll, mid-roll, which again could be configured from within the system, and you can also syndicate the content. Moving next, from an analytics perspective, we can have mashup of the data and add flavors to analytics. And SVC, for multi-tenancy, we provide a green and red icon, which denotes in case there is a problem, then an admin can deep dive into analytics and fix it, something like token failures or something. So single customer view is nothing but which is used to customize and address specific KPIs, business need, and the dashboard brings together actionable insight to drive the key business analytics. Moving ahead, just in details, the analytics is provided by Verizon Media Platform because we work closely with Verizon. DCafe provides its own analytics, which is from a subscription base, from a content report base, video syndication, journal-based performance, etc. We tie up with Google Analytics and Firebase, and we can have users on Firebase and what's the demographic, behavior, crash report, etc. Again, player analytics could be from the players which has been integrated, which could be audience-based, performance, video quality, etc. And from logging and reporting, we have error logging, reporting, and other data sources. So yeah, that's it from DCafe, and thank you, Eric.
Thank you very much, Kaushik. Let's dive right into our questions now. And I ask our speakers, if you're not speaking, please put your microphones or phones on mute. And let's start with Ruben. And let's go back to talking about QOE, quality of experience metrics for OTT measurement. Ruben, these days, what are the most useful QOE metrics?
So I'm getting that question very often, also in my daily business. Yeah, and there is there are a lot of different useful QE metrics, and it depends in which area in an organization you're working with. So I think the most important metric, let's call it like this, is that the customer really understands what he wants to achieve in terms of use case. Yeah, I think having more than 90 metrics in our portfolio, including dimensions, and don't forget part of the matrix is dimensions. It's important to define the use case, and then you can collect the matrix and the dimensions which might be important for that. So my answer on that, which is the most useful QE metrics, is there are a lot of, but it's important to understand your use case, that we can define and start to fulfill the requirements to solve the problem or to fulfill the use case. So if you ask me again, what is the most important, most useful QE matrix is, it's a use case from the customer where we can then add the different metrics. That's from my perspective the most useful way.
Sure. So there's really no one size fits all solution, right? You need to speak to the customer about their needs. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think it's important to have a huge onboarding setup. Yeah. So it's not possible to sell a static tool to a customer. It's important to have a dynamic way of working and to understand the customer before you start to talk about technologies. Yeah.
Good. Now, whatever the metrics are, what are the best solutions to current measurement problems with OTT?
Yeah, I can name my company, but I think we should focus on the best solutions. So let's talk about the best way of creating the best solution. So what most of our customers or most customers forget is to save some money in terms of business case to invest into monitoring and analytics tools. Yeah, I think it's also important instead of focusing on features only from a CDN perspective, from a transcoding encoding perspective, from a CDN as a service perspective, because there's not a single one fulfilling all the needed requirements. I think it's important to understand and to see if all my bricks are reporting the accurate data. Yeah, this is, I think, the first topic to really have the most efficient, and the best solution to understand your service. A part of that, it's an important topic, that you have companies like us or like video analytics companies like, let's call it Tailorstream, as an independent player to judge all the other elements. So there's not one stop shop for everything. I think it's important to have a modular approach to find the best platform provider, understanding as an example also all the cloud related needed things. And it's like I mentioned, the best solution is to understand it from initial beginning, what are your elements capable to monitor and to manage, from an analytics perspective.
That makes a lot of sense. Before we move on, I'd like to ask our other speakers, Ravi and Kaushik, do you have anything you'd like to add to the topic of what are the most useful QoE metrics or the best solutions for OTT measurement problems?
So just real quick, as Ruben said, QoE is one of those areas that it means everything and nothing, because it just encompasses a wide gamut of facets you need to measure. So I think so in terms of metrics and what needs to be collected, I think it's important to understand what's important for your customers, to develop KPIs, and then, as Ruben said, leverage data to help, measure those metrics, and then see how you are faring against them, and how your OTT platforms can then enhance on those.
Kaushik, did you want to add anything on this topic?
No, but I mind what Ruben and Ravi said, and typically the QoE would be around what platform you're using, what's the current architecture of the platform, in case if there are crashes, then how do you manage that, what is the logging and error reporting, what does the player gives you, what's the concurrency. I mean, it all depends on the customer needs and behavioral and analytics, which helps us out. So
very good. Next question, and again, let's start with Ruben. what do you see as the most promising measurement technologies that we should be on the lookout for over the next, say, 12 to 24 months?
You know quite well, most of the people are talking about AI. Yeah, AI from my perspective is also process. Yeah, but I think the most promising technologies popping up is, especially combining QE, QS related data and analytics data with application analytics, meaning that everything surrounding the player is something which is popping up more and more. And what is important is that you have a very close relationship to your client developer. Yeah. So this is exactly what we are doing also. So we have companies like 3SS where we are working with to automate the complete customer environment, the complete end device environment, as well as we're doing that with platform providers. And this is, I think, which is coming more and more, is like platform providers like Kaltura or others are providing an end-to-end setup and an end-to-end measuring setup with client analytics solutions like ours or video analytics solutions like from TeleStream. So I think an integrated setup is an important setup, and this is popping up more and more, that the suppliers will actively operate and match the end-to-end landscape together with their customers.
Excellent. Ravi or Kaushik, your thoughts any on the most promising technologies that we should be looking for in the next year or two?
I mean, this is Kaushik. From a third-party integration perspective, I think what Rubin mentioned is correct, and the player analytics, the system-wide analytics plays a key role, and again, you'll have to understand the user behavior to get actionable insights. So, working on an ML or an AI-based recommendation engine and generating KPIs would really be the key in the coming years.
So, So I think there's a recurring theme that's happening. It's around data. And I sort of agree, with both the panelists, is that really at the core of it, so collecting data has become sort of commoditized and, sort of bread and butter. In terms of, yes, there are challenges there is in terms of scalability, what data you collect, how you build these data warehouses. But it's really, as Ruben said, is what do you do with this data? So at the core of, what we are seeing with our customers is, now they're at this stage where they have built pretty mature data pipelines, but then it's really figuring out what to do with that data. And some of the things, at least from our perspective, that customers are looking at is on the media side is, obviously customer acquisition and how do you prevent churn? How do you actually proactively manage engagement? How do you measure the return of your advertising by doing attribution? So again, it is all about data and how do you leverage that data.
Well, that leads nicely into the next question, and we'll start with you, Ravi. What do you think the most important strategies are for VOD providers to be able to retain viewers? Data obviously plays a big role, but let's dig into that.
Yeah. So, Eric, there's multiple dimensions. So to managing, obviously customer acquisition is, there's a tremendous expense to it. Plus, what we are seeing is, there's a proliferation of OTT services. And, consumers only have so much time and, in terms of, their ability to spend. So it's very important to actually, once you acquire a customer, to retain them. So some of the key strategies that, we are working with our customers on are really, multifaceted. One is, it's very important to communicate with your customer frequently. So, and not take them for granted. So we're using marketing platforms like from Salesforce and various other marketing platforms to send out, personalized emails, communicate with them on new content releases, give recommendations to them based on what they've been viewing. So this is a very important facet. Second is, when a customer does churn and they say, okay, I'm going to opt out, it's important to get their feedback because this feedback needs to be, used to improve your OTT platform or your content. And the other area that is very important is to figure out how is your customer engaging with your content. What are they watching? What are they clicking? What are they fast forwarding? So very important. And the other thing is, is to keep content fresh, isn't it? It's to figure out what is your life cycle for managing content, keeping it fresh. And then pricing obviously is a key component. And finally, and we did touch on this topic is, predicting churns. So, at Tavant, we have developed various models using deep machine learning to actually predict churn. Before I hand it off, one thing about churn is to understand is that every customer is likely to churn. It is what is their probability. So is it 1%? Is it 90%? And to really develop a program of how you manage this churn, based on their probability to churn. Back to you, Eric.
Sure. Or Ruben or Kaushik, do you have any follow-up on that question about retaining viewers and strategies for that?
Oh yeah, this is Eric. This is Kaushik. Sorry, Ruben, go ahead.
No, you start. You start, and I end up.
So I mean, for us, that's a very important topic, which we touch base. And what we generally do is we ensure that we go onto the Play Store, check for the users' feedback. Depending upon the users' feedback, we do improvement areas which are necessary. And apart from that, the content architecture which we have put in place, I feel that also helps us tremendously, helps us a lot, because we want to show the users the content which they are viewing based on the viewing history, recommendation, and ML and AI. Plus, the notifications are key. You need to ensure that you send right notification to the right users, because depending upon their choices, otherwise it might completely backfire. And again, understanding their feedback and engagement level is really important. So yeah, those are my thoughts from a feedback generation and recommendation perspective.
Yeah, I think in terms of churn prevention, I think you need to understand, and exactly what I mentioned in terms of QE matrix. If you don't understand all the metrics and the dimensions you might use for that churn prevention, I think it's an important topic that you have the possibility to define churn prevention setups and dashboards for your customer, showing the bad experience of your customers with a proactive setup, like you mentioned also before, Ravi. Yeah. That you have the possibility to actively match your customers. Yeah, I think that's the most important topic, and that's in combination with application analytics. Yeah, because a lot of stuff you don't see that from a QS perspective. You only see that from a usability perspective, and this is something you need to combine to prevent churn. Yeah, and of course, an active and proactive platform provider who is responsible for an end-to-end ecosystem, understanding the end-to-end ecosystem. Yeah. So I think that's one of the secret sources for that.
Absolutely, and we'll get back to QoE in just a bit. But first, Ravi, as more TV networks focus on direct-to-consumer solutions, how can they maximize the value of their ad inventory?
Real quick, we're seeing, as I said, mentioned before, Eric, is a proliferation of direct-to-consumer solutions, and especially what's happening in the industry right now is, so you go back and look at NBC, CBS, ESPN, the list goes on. How did they distribute content before? They leveraged, cable networks, satellite companies. So they were really never a direct-to-consumer company. So all of them now are providing direct-to-consumer applications. So what does this do? Now, they are no longer traditional television. no longer monetizing by the traditional means of advertising, of linear advertising. So they have different inventory type. They have now with their direct-to-consumer platforms, they have digital inventory, and they continue to have linear inventory, plus what's called addressable, which is more of, linear inventory, but targeted at households. So this is right now what's happening in the industry is this is sold separately by the large television and cable networks, and so they're in a unique position now. Think about it, where they now have all of this inventory, and they need to they can provide a much more compelling ROI for the advertisers and brands. So we at Tavant, what we're witnessing is the need for all of these broadcasters to integrate their ad inventory across a multitude of platforms, as I said, across linear, across addressable, across digital. And now think about it. If you're a large network like NBC, you can go and sell across all of these inventories and be able to measure, bill, and invoice. So this is a compelling area where I think, we say television is dead, but I think they are in this unique situation where they have this, multi-channel inventory that they can leverage. And I
very good, Ruben or Kaushik. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go right ahead. Okay, Ruben, Kaushik, any follow-ups on that?
I'm fine with what was mentioned right now, and I think it's good. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
This is Kaushik, and to add to it, I think the OTT platform, how it supports ad management, how it is dynamic to bring in the ads. I mean, because we work closely with Verizon Digital Media, and Verizon Digital Media has a unique feature of one-to-one session management, which ensures that, because of one-to-one session, we could provide unique ads to the users. This ads again can be server-side ads. Again, it can be skippable, non-skippable, depending upon the type of user who is viewing the content. And on top of that, you can also add client-side ads, and with that, a flavor of native ads helps in customer retention as well, because if you show the right ads to the right users, and if they like it, it is an inventory, and I mean it's a sale inventory for you as well. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Absolutely, and this topic of customer retention keeps coming up, and obviously one of the best ways to guarantee customer retention is to improve customer engagement. So Ravi, how can OTT providers measure quality of experience and then use that to improve their customer engagement?
Yeah, so I think we've sort of touched on this topic a couple of times. So what I want to do is sort of, and there's, as we said, at the core of this is data. There are platforms like, Splunk, Conviva, and then New Relic, and with Ruben here and his platform for collecting data, and etc. So there's a multitude of platforms that are collecting data around user experience, and some of the things that they're collecting is availability. Is the percentage of video chunks, the startup time, the jitters, which is, how often am I changing my bit rate, abandonment, are people watching videos and are they abandoning the viewership of these? Engagement, again, is around, sort of ties into abandonment, but is, are there repeat watchers and how long are they watching it? So at the core, so all of this, there are platforms that collect this, but what we do is it's important to actually now take this data and derive, you know, sort of sense from this data, if you will. And to give you an example, let's say that, you're collecting this data. You want to understand that the user is having a, bad quality of experience. This may be their startup times. This may be the way the bit rate is changing. So it's the core here is doing, advanced analytics to find out, are there geos, are there devices, are there, factors that are, causing this poor quality of experience. Another example, similarly, another example is, my content is being consumed. Where are people abandoning content? Is it a particular genre? Is it a particular show? And this actually goes back to helping, again, a little off the quality of experience topic, but I think one of the areas that metrics and data is helping a lot is in the content production, because right now with OTT, we have very good visibility into how viewers are consuming content.
Great insights there. Ruben or Akashik, do you want to follow up on that? Like Ravi said, we've talked about QoE quite a bit, but there's always more to talk about.
No, I think regarding the question how can providers leverage data to enhance quality of experience, I think it's important to have a common OSS landscape, from an operational point of view. So you mentioned as an example one of our competitors from a client analytics perspective, and Splunk. Splunk, that's exactly the topic. Splunk is a service quality management tool on top, which is collecting data from us. The same like data miner and others. I think it's important to define an OSS landscape. A part of the topic that a part of leveraging the data which they're collecting, not pushing the data into a data dump, using the data in a correlation engine, and then see exactly what is happening with the end consumer, and start to proactively, interact with them. I think it's a very positive sign for an end consumer if you as an operator or an OTT provider, you realize that they have a problem and you actively talk to him. I've seen that during my times at Deutsche Telekom and Vodafone, that so customers are really, really positive about that. So use the data and interact with the customer. If you see that the customer is having a bad experience, start to talk to them. I think that's the most efficient topic. To improve the customer retention. I think that's an important topic.
Absolutely. Kaushik, anything to add there before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, data speaks for itself, and understanding users, user behavior, user experience matters a lot. And it also depends on what is the type of content, how we are marketing the content, what geography are you in. Again, all this comes from data itself. Again, what ads are you showing, what is the type of content, whether the user likes the ad which you're showing. If it's a repeat user, what you're trying to show him. Advanced analytics helps us over here. So it's very important for us to understand the user behavior, experiences, etc. before we produce even the type of content which is needed for them.
Very good. I want to take a brief moment to remind our viewers that because we did start late because of audio issues, we will be running this event until about 10 minutes after the hour. So we've still got time, but I see we have a lot of questions in the Q&A. If we don't get a chance to get to all of them, the speakers will receive your questions and we'll be able to respond after the event. That said, let's move on to talk about a subject or an approach that makes a whole lot of sense, but it hasn't been talked about a lot, and that's an OTT taxonomy. Let's talk about how can providers build a real OTT taxonomy, Kaushik? Kaushik, you might be muted.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. A true OTT taxonomy is built when you can manage different product types, And as I said, on the top you can see the product type on the content architecture piece, which could be sports, kids, A&E within the OTT platform. But you can also have customized business rules for a single piece of content. Okay, and what I mean by customized business rules for a single piece of content is how do you dynamically show what the type of content which the users wants to see? How do you ensure that there is a dynamic content hierarchy in place when the user logs into the system? Say, for example, if there is an season of Friends and you want to attract the visitors, you want to share the first episode of the season free, and then the rest of them is paid. How do you do that? How do you implement something called as a metered usage, which is like, say, for example, if there is a live TV which is going on and you want the users to watch something free for 15 minutes and then it becomes paid, and you also ensure that the user can only start from that particular position from where he has come in, seen, logged off, and then again if it tries to comes in. And again, if you have a type of a premium type of a package, you can share the low streams. So again, from an ABR perspective, you have streams. How do you ensure that the free users get a pie of a low stream and the premium users can watch something which is HD and above? How can you set different subscription rules, etc. for the content taxonomy? So again, that is what my thought is, on how do you want to build, scale a true OTT taxonomy.
Ravi or Ruben, any thoughts you want to add on that?
Yeah, this is Ravi here. No, I think Kaushik has gotten it. As you know, the unfortunate reality is customers are it depends on their lifetime value, and it's really some of these weighing off measures of who's actually valuable customers and being able to provide more compelling experiences for them in terms of streaming at a lower bit rate for them, in terms of offering them limited content, in terms of providing ad-free experiences. So I think, yeah, Kaushik has pretty much covered most of this.
I think OTT taxonomy, I think it's an important topic, as I mentioned, that you have the right technology vendors which are helping you to develop something, which really gives an added value to the end consumer. First fix the basics, in terms of bottom life, if it's working, then you can start to talk about features, and as I mentioned, if you want to be on top of everything, or the leading service provider, you need to understand the bricks in your end-to-end setup, and it starts from a content source perspective, which you need to monitor up to the end device. Everything is important, and if you want to reach a good and true OTT taxonomy, this is, from my perspective, key that your suppliers understand how to manage their own bricks.
Very good. Kaushik, you talked a little bit about the relationship between business rules and business models. You talked about metered usage for a particular episode of a show. But could you dig a little deeper and talk more about the relationship between business models and your asset management?
Yeah. So we'll go to the monetization slide. Okay. So yeah, with DCafe, what typically when you try to give a relationship between the business model and asset management, with DCafe you can assign A-word, S-word, T-word, business rules to individual assets based on the business model. Now, this helps in increasing the probability of customer acquisition, since your content can also be accessible to subscribers who are not yet ready to make a commitment. And this is where I meant, about the metered usage, where you provide 15 minutes free. Now 15 minutes is just a number, it's dynamic, free to a user, and then they can pay. In this, you can retain a customer, you can convert a lead per se. And similarly, in case of wards as well, you show them the first episode of a famous show free, and then you start charging. And again, if they are inclined, if your content is right up to mark, you again can convert this leads. Plus, how do you ensure that that new content, fresh content, always comes into the application? And it goes to that, if a free content such as a pilot episode, which will help your customers to convert into prospective subscribers, paying subscribers, this is the business model in which you need to go. Plus, DCAFE's asset management allows flexibility to switch and combine the monetization model as you understand, and adapt to the changing market conditions and user behavior. So it all depends, as I said, in which geography you are, what is the type of the content, how you want to market or sell the content, etc. From a relationship, building business models, and managing assets dynamically.
Very good, and we're seeing that more and more with OTT platforms and service providers mixing business models and changing their business models over time to adapt to changing environments. Ruben or Ravi, any follow-up on the relationship between business models and asset management?
Of course, I think it's important, and that's exactly what I mentioned. If your platform provider don't understand the relationship between business model and asset management, then you have chosen the wrong vendor. I think that's something which, based on the experience of them, working with global customers, I think they have the right experience to do that. But the business model in relation to asset management, if an asset management setup or content management system is not capable to fulfill the requirements of a business model, then you might have a big problem as a customer. I think that's an important topic. But it's choosing the right technology again.
All right, then the last question go ahead, Ravi.
No, I was going to say, I think Ruben and Kaushik got most of it. But, I think the company that we are seeing is, I think Hulu's got it right in terms of, and that's what Kaushik outlined, is there's a multitude of models, right from, purely AVOD to purely SVOD to somewhere in between. So I think it is really a question of, having a platform, having an asset management system that, supports all of these models and, on a hybrid of these.
Exactly, the hybrid topic. I think that's an important topic. Mm-hmm. The hybrid topic is that you have one asset which you use for different business models. From a TVOD, AVOD perspective. So most of the new or big platform providers, they have something like that out of the box. I think it's the commerce engine.
Okay, the last question that I have for our speakers before we move on to some audience questions, and again, Kaushik, let's start with you. How can providers use page management to improve navigation and therefore the user experience? And then, of course, that's going to improve engagement and retention once again.
So Eric, this is a good question. So page management dictates the visual flow of your platform. And again, it boils down to the same thing that, what actually the users wants to see. I mean, if you show them the same content, they're never going to come back to the platform. So it's really important that how do you ensure that through AI, through ML, you understand the user behavior and show them the things which they want to see based on their viewing history. So again, for us, creating the page categories, the carousels that you want to be displayed on a particular page depends upon the content hierarchy and the need of the user is. So when you have a catalog spanning hundreds or even thousands of titles and the different audience base that you're creating to keeping things fresh while highlighting, your hero content becomes a regular job of OTT platform, it's really important to understand the user behavior, because otherwise it could really be challenging and you can see a downfall from your subscription base. And to add to it, you can use dcafe's page management model to create different page categories, change the banner images, change the page layouts on the fly. And again, all these things needs to be dynamic. You need to ensure that every time the user comes, he sees a personalized page, maybe from his from his favorites or from his watch list, and he should be allowed to continue watching from there. But again, the other contents which is being displayed matches to his viewing history. That's really key and important to ensure that the user retention is there.
Yeah, this AI ML topic, this is something I'm hearing day by day. Yeah, so yeah, I think in most of the cases, it's not only AI and ML. I think it's also process automation. Yeah, it's automating processes and moving forward. I think that's an efficient way. You're completely right. Yeah, but the topic is to improve the navigation. I think you need to understand the user flow. Yeah, the navigation flow. Yeah, if you launch a new app. Yeah, if you launch a new application, yeah, you need to see if the user flow is really giving the customer the possibility to consume the content in the fast possible way. So it's like I mentioned, a part of the QE and QS related data and information. This is relevant. So if you buy the Champions League rights, yeah, and you place them into your platform, and your user flow, yeah, to consume the content is very, very bad, yeah. You need to change that, yeah. And this is something, yeah, you can see in such an analytics tool, yeah, in terms of user flow in combination with QE and QS data. But it's like I mentioned, AI and ML is not the answer to everything. I think most of the cases which the industry mentions is process automation, but it's fine as well. I wanted only to give you my 2 cents regarding that.
Yeah. So I think. Just to add to what Kaushik said, yeah, page flow, the way you design, and we're seeing, there's a lot of infinite scroll with Netflix and services like this. I'm not too sure who scrolls so much down, but I think just to add on to what Kaushik said, I think while page flow is important, I think as important is content discovery. So I, as a user, if I go to my favorite OTT service, being able to discover my content easily, whether it's through search, whether it's through recommendation systems, etc. So I think that's the core of the issue, is whether it is page flow or search or any of these, is content discovery. Because, and I'll give you an example. I go to Netflix. I search, I don't find something, I go to Hulu. If not, I go to Disney Plus. So I think that's the key here, is content discovery.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly what I mentioned. User flow in combination with content discovery is the most important topic from my perspective. You're completely right. Yeah, thank you.
All right. As I said, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Eric. And just to add to what Ravi and Rubin said, for me, what's important is that users should never go to search. I mean, they should always see something which is flashing, which they want to see, and then only the behavior. I mean, yeah, you go and search for a particular content, but yeah, I mean, when you come to a site every night after your work, you should, I mean, the platform should be such that which makes you stick to it, and every night after you come from work, you should be habituated to use the platform, because it always shows what you like and not what others like. So yeah, that's really very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's it, Kaushik, is, obviously search and, using other content discovery tools is secondary, but you're right. I mean, we worked on a project with one of our customers. It was called What to Watch. And basically they were an aggregator across different platforms, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. And the idea was, when you turn on your TV, you are presented options of what to watch without having to do content discovery. Just reinforcing Kaushik's point.
All right, I would like to close with one audience question, and that question is, what do you think the top 3 challenges are for today's OTT providers? Now, if I ask each of you to give 3 challenges, we could be here another hour. But if you could each give your sense of what you think is a top challenge for today's OTT providers and what you think the likely solution or solutions are. So, Ruben, what do you think the top challenge for OTT providers is right now?
I think OTT providers, you need to see it also from a customer vertical perspective. Yeah. So if you talk from an operator perspective, these guys are acting more as a content broker, meaning that they are integrating a lot of third-party apps. Yeah. So here the usability and moving forward in the integration is crucial. Yeah. Interacting with different BSS environments. Yeah. To really place also the content where it should be. Yeah. From a broadcaster or from a content owner perspective, is of course to produce the most watchable content in combination with the content discovery setup. Yeah, and I think from an e-learning and fitness on demand perspective, yeah, it's the quality of service and quality of experience perspective. Yeah, in terms of analytics. So it's a mixed mode of different topics. So if you talk about challenges, you need to talk about the different verticals in the industry, and here are some. So this is a very generic answer. I'm more than happy to answer more questions after the webinar. Yeah.
All right, Ravi, what do you think the top challenges are for OTT providers, and what are the solutions?
So I think, I don't know the solution. Otherwise, so I think the top challenge right now is, so think about it is, so what are we doing? We're competing for consumers' time, isn't it? So it's just not, when I have some time, I'm figuring out, should I go not just to a Netflix or a Hulu or an OTT provider? Do I get on Facebook? Do I get on some other social media channel? Do I go and do some e-shopping? So I think if you look at the traditional OTT direct-to-consumer platforms, I think what they have to do is figure out how to go beyond just engaging their customers with content. It is, and I don't know what the solution is. It is providing value around, I just go there, find a show I want to watch and watch it. It has to go beyond that. And that's what I think the key is going to be, is to get into adjacent areas around content. And it could be around, educating, it could be around, more social collaboration around content, around more opinions, making it much more collaborative, especially in the days of COVID-19, where we can no longer have these, water cooler talks. I think these platforms need to be much more engaging and diversified. And I don't know what the solution is, Eric. I mean, other than
that's why we're all here, right?
Other than engaging Tavant to build some of these collaboration platforms.
Right. Kaushik, what do you see as the biggest challenges for OTT providers right now?
To address it, content is the king. So you need to get the right content in the right place at the right time. Time is again a sense with a limited watch span which the user has. The content discovery is a key part, and ensure that there is customer retention. There is fresh content which is available. You need to understand the user behaviors, what the user is watching, what type of content they like, how the platform performs, what is your user behavior. So there are multiple facets to it, multiple ideas attached to it. But content discovery, user retention is always going to be key, without which any platform will not succeed. So to me, that's really important.
Very good, and that's a great place to end things. As I said, if you have a question that you posed and our speakers have not responded to, they will get your questions and respond to you after the webinar. I'd like to thank our speakers today, Ruben from Nice People at Work, Ravi from Tavant, and Kaushik from DCafe. I'd like to thank them for their patience as we worked out the audio problems at the beginning, and I'd like to thank you, our audience, for your patience and your involvement sticking around to hear this great discussion. If you would like to review this event or send a colleague to view it, the event will be archived for 90 days, and you'll receive a follow-up email letting you know when that archive is available. And once again, just for attending today's event, you're entered into a drawing for a $100 Amazon gift card, and we will send you an email so you can claim your prize, and we'll be making that selection on October 30th. That wraps things up for today. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.